If you want the most comfortable over-the-ear headphones with the best audio reproduction and ANC on the market right now, the Sony WH-1000XM6s are the ones to look for. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing that for you guys after using it for about a couple of weeks now. Not only that, traveling with it on a 10-hour plus flight, allowing me to actually truly test that ANC on an airplane, but also functionality. Are these the headphones to use when you want a pair of headphones that just walk with you, work with you, play with you, and have fun with you without ever dying on you? This is TK, and this is my review, travel review of the WH-1000XM6 headphones, over-the-ear headphones from Sony. Let's check them out and see what makes them so special. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. Starting off with the actual case itself, it's a nice little case. It has a lanyard here on the top, a very nice soft material with Sony on it. It is a hard shell case. So just a little bit of background on this conversation is I've started with the XM3s. The XM3s were my first over-the-ear Sony headphones. I've used other earbuds from Sony, but as far as over-the-ear, this is pretty much where I've started, and they've been my tried and true over-the-ear headphones. I've used them at work, I've used them for conference calls, and I've struggled through using them in conference calls, and I'll explain to you guys why the XM6s make so much more sense for me. But the overall experience when it comes down to the case, it's kind of a similar experience. You'll notice the cases are similar in size. They're both hard shell cases. We lost the mesh cover on the outside. I personally used to love using that. Just put just a charging cable, a little bit longer charging cable than the one that we usually get in the box. They both have that nice little strap on the side. The gold accent colors here obviously slightly different. Again, it's a different aesthetic design from what Sony used to do. And if you just go ahead and open it up, you notice here the experience is going to be very much similar. The new design on the case is very nice. There's no more zipper. It's a magnetic latch, or kind of like a magnetic latch. You'll notice right there, it kind of hooks and it sits very nicely. When you open it, you're going to kind of see the experience that I'm talking about. They're very similarly packed. We're coming back to this. The XM5s went away from this. The case was a little bit different. The buds or the headphones were kept in more of a flat but open experience. And now we're coming back to a somewhat of a nice little mechanism here, an upgraded hinge mechanism here than what we've had back with the XM3s. Now, the one thing I will say, both still have that nice little area here for the wires and the extra accessories that come in. We no longer do get the airplane accessory in here, and I will say that I tried using it on the airplane on my last trip, and unfortunately it does not work, at least not on United flights. So not a big issue there for me. For the most part, a lot of them are actually starting to implement Bluetooth audio, which is definitely very nice. Now, we do get a nice long headphone jack cable that allows us to use the headphones as a wired connection, which is very, very nice. And we also have a USB-A to C cable here to be able to charge them, as these will charge from almost any USB power source. The main thing obviously is the battery life that could last up to that can last you up to 30 hours, which is definitely very nice, especially for long usage when you want to be able to use them, play games, watch movies, and even make phone calls with them. We're going to talk about the upgraded audio experience in that manner. But other than that, you can see here the design's very similar. We no longer have that nice, very much call-out kind of colorway where we basically have like a more of a darker color with gold accents. Here, we're pretty much keeping it very simple. There's the blue one. There's two other colors. There is a black version as well. And the coloring here is just pretty much more subdued a little bit. And the color look very, very nice. You'll also notice that the fabric here that kind of extends all around and is no longer just on the top area. And it is all soft, and it actually makes for a very comfortable experience. Now, the last thing I will show you guys before we move on, just talking specifically about the XM6s here, is the overall ear cup design. Now, you'll notice that the ear cup design kind of look very similar, except for me, after using this for many years, I noticed that these will always, for some certain part of my, at least for my ears, they sit on a certain part of my ear. And that attributed to a certain discomfort after a certain amount of hours of wearing them, especially when you're using them for your day job and you're sitting at the computer and you're listening to music, you're watching things, you're doing a whole bunch of different things with it. You do want to get that really nice, comfortable experience. Now, overall, that ever so slight bigger area here that we have on the XM6s made them so that were much easier for me to use and much more comfortable. And my ear fits perfectly in here. And these actually just basically the ring sits right around it and provides that nice little support that we want. And because of the cushioning that we have in here on the top and on the sides here with the actual cups themselves, it provides you almost like a weightless experience when it sits on your head, and it provided me, again, 10+ hours of usage continuously on my flight back. Now, I know at the beginning I mentioned that this is up to 30 hours, and just to reference, this is with active noise cancellation on. You can go up to 40 hours if you turn off the active noise cancellation. One of the biggest upgrades also that we got on the design here is that we have a more pronounced power button. It's easier to identify. There's the only one that actually is present here. Pressing and holding it provides you the ability of turning it off and turning it on. We have a noise cancellation and of course mode change. You are able to reprogram this. This is very nice directly within the application. We have a headphone jack, obviously providing us the ability of using this as a wired connection. The USB-C cable on the side, or the connector on the side here, is for charging, but also to be able to actually charge them when you're using them. That's one thing to keep in mind. Although the charge speed is a little bit slower than when you normally charge them when you're not being used, obviously since they're using them, it actually is something that we've been wanting for many, many years. The ability of not actually having the buds die on us when we need them most. Obviously, wired connection will give you also some improvements over audio depending on the driver or the actual player that you're using. I've always wanted these headphones to do for me is be great for when I need them in conference calls, when I'm on video calls. I don't want to take them off to be able to put something on that sounds better so that the other person on the other side gets any kind of concerns. Now, I of course did also take them with me when I was traveling. As you see there with the airplane, I was sitting there perfectly comfortable, set them up, connected them. And the nice thing about it is a lot of airplanes now are starting to support Bluetooth connected headphones, which means all you have to do is when you get these, you can directly go into the Sony app and of course add another device and then pair it to that display for that duration of the flight. And then when you're done, you can just delete that and don't have to worry about it. And at the end of the day, you'll get a better, more personal experience and your own personal headphones and not have to worry about using any wired connections or even just using the provided plain headphones. And again, we don't know how they cleaned those. So from the sanity standpoint, I love the fact that this is becoming more of the standard. Now, from the call quality, as I was mentioning to you guys, is the microphones, we have beam-forming microphones that allow it to actually pick up the audio from the front area. So when you're wearing them, so you notice right there, there's a little indicator here for the left side of the blue one, and hopefully you guys could see that the red one basically indicates the right side. The earbuds themselves, or the headphones themselves, basically go in both directions, so you're able to put them nicely comfortable here like that on your shoulders, or you can basically put them flat the other way, which is the standard form. And if you just have to remember which one is the one that goes inside, it's the left one, so you just basically bend it in, and this is how they sit in the case. It's very straightforward. When you don't need them, open it up, open and start using. It's very nice. Again, power button's on the left side. It's always going to be there. And the button is pretty much right next to it. No other buttons other than that. We just have the openings for the microphones that allow it to have some of the best noise cancellation. Literally, actually have pretty much the best noise cancellation options that I've seen. And it's been working great on the airplane and even at home when my son plays his trombone. Now, to customize the experience on the headphones themselves, you do need to download the Sony Sound Connect application. And one of the basic things, obviously, to see is you'll see directly the actual the headphones themselves. Regardless of which color you pick, it'll actually show it there. There's 3 different colors available. The battery percentage on the actual buds, and since there's no charging from the case, pretty much that's the battery that you're going to live with. The codec that is currently connected, LDAC, is going to be one of the better options that we have access to. The 3 different modes for ambient, for basically noise cancellation, and you're also able to customize that experience a little bit more in the additional settings section. Now, there's the listening mode, which is definitely something nice that I'm appreciating over the XM3s. This was not present there. And that gives us the ability of changing between standard. We have basically background music as well as cinema. And what I like about it is in the background music experience, you're able to customize the different room experience, either a cafe, a bedroom, or even a bigger area. So it kind of adapts to replicate that experience in there. Now, we have the EQ built in here, and one thing I will definitely say that I appreciate is here over the XM3s, and that's because the XM3s did not allow me to actually have the sound quality high on on LDAC at the same time as being able to customize the EQ to go in there. Anytime I wanted to change that, it forced me to go back to SBC. So here, we're noticing that the upgraded hardware that we have are providing us the ability of actually using them to the full potential the way we want them. Active sound control, of course, you can put that in there. Now, currently, this is connected to one device, but I had it for the most part on my travels, connecting it to my MacBook Pro as well as my S25 Edge. You'll see those are paired devices. But right now, it's only paired to one since my MacBook is asleep, so it's not going to try to wake it up. We have speech to chat. This is going to be one of those where you allow the actual microphones to actively listen. So if you start speaking, or for the lack of a better word, if you start singing, it'll start reducing the audio experience so that you're able to have a better conversation. Conversely, if you ever have a situation where somebody comes up to you and you're listening to a song, you just want to talk to them, just using your palm, putting it on one of the ear cups, the right ear cup or the left one, the headphones automatically, since these are touch sensitive, will automatically reduce the audio experience and turn on pass-through mode, which allows you to actually hear the other person and have a conversation. The music doesn't get stopped, but you still have the ability of having that conversation that you want. Now the player that we have in here pretty much just mimics what the internal music player, whichever one you're using on the device. Currently there's nothing playing, and that's one of the reasons there. You can go into edit, you can customize the additional section in here. You go in there, you have obviously a 360 audio, of course, spatial audio in there. And of course, basically find your equalizer, you can customize it and change the sound experience to the one that you want. Now, of course, you can go in there, change all of that. Again, in the past with the XM3s, I've had to choose one of the two options in here. If I scroll down at the bottom, you'll notice here where it says Bluetooth connectivity quality, it's been prioritized. I have to say prioritize connection, a stable connection for those to work. Now I'm able to keep it the audio quality. That's how you're also able to switch on the LDAC configuration. You can turn on DSCE Extreme in here. This is one of the other options you're able to turn on and turn off in the area at the bottom here. Further up on the system here, you can go in, customize voice controls, which is also very nice. And you're able to activate the assistant functionality by putting them on and just saying assistant. Once you say that, you're able to actually go in there and customize them and use different voice commands to basically control your music on the actual headphones. Very nice, and I really love that. Unfortunately, if it is too much of a loud environment, sometimes it's a hit and miss, but you're able to customize it a little bit more in here if you want to activate just the Google Assistant, as these are also going to work great with that. And of course, interacting with Gemini, I guess, as you can imagine. The Gemini is basically what's going to be the interacting voice experience. And you can customize the language, the touch sensor control here, the functionality of the button, as I mentioned to you guys. Right now, we're able to customize it by basically either turning the noise cancellation, ambient sound, or off. And it basically will cycle through them. Quick press, you can basically turn that on, and triple press, you can customize the experience in here. You just go in and press, and then just go in and customize the area. That's one of the, again, the functional things, as I mentioned to you guys. You can turn on and customize that area. Now, under services, which is also a new setting, again, by comparison to the XM6, again, you can see the different services that we have. For the most part, this is pretty much where you need to be, and you're also, just for reference, able to turn them off directly within the app, similar to all Sony experiences. And you can also check on the software version if there is any software updates. I did receive one since I got them. Now, the hinge mechanism has been upgraded. It's very nice, it's very fluid, it's easy to use. Again, extending the arms provides you that nice comfort experience, and then for the most part, just, again, put them on. The moment you put them on, the active noise cancellation turns on right away. If you take them off, it takes it off automatically, so it does not waste any battery power when you're not using them. You're also able to customize the experience of having them shut off automatically after a certain amount of time so that the battery doesn't drain itself. I'll start off by saying this. The XM6 or the XM series have always been known for their comfort. Again, there's a lot of cushioning on the ears as well as on the top. The cover that we have in here now with the blue ones, at least the one they look absolutely fantastic. I love the color. I love the experience. And the experience that I was using them, and what I wanted to call this, why is it a travel review? And that's primarily because of the audio experience. When you're traveling, it's one of those things that you always have a hard time being able to control. Traveling with a piece of tech always gives you a different perspective than when you're using it at home. At home, you're more of a controlled environment. You know where the noise are coming in, you know how to control them, you know how to separate yourself. When you're traveling, when you're in an environment where you cannot separate yourself, let's say in an airplane, you have to be in the airplane for a certain amount of time. And the amount of noise that comes out of it is not always the most pleasant one. Yes, we're used to it, we hear it. But for me, I like to be able to cancel it. These headphones do that, and they cancel them entirely. Like, I felt like I was sitting in my office in a quiet room on the airplane. And I used them in a couple of different ways. Yes, I was listening to music all the time, but I also used them just for active noise cancellation in some experiences. And this is where I'm talking about the 10-hour plus wearability function happens. Yes, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. If the weather is warm, you are going to sweat. This is an over-the-ear experience, and this is something to keep in mind, that obviously precipitation will start. But on an airplane, when it's air-conditioned and there's always going to be a colder area environment, that wasn't an issue. If you're going to wear it in a warmer weather, just be aware that any kind of headphones that are like these will always have some precipitation around them. There was no issues in the sound, there's no performance issues. On the airplane for 10 hours plus, it was absolutely fantastic. The reason why I'm calling this a travel review as opposed to a standard review, and that's because I wanted to use them in an environment that I wasn't comfortable in. And I mean like my daily normal routine, where I know where audio is coming from, where I'm able to separate myself from environmental audio and be able to basically enjoy my music normally. I wanted to be in an experience where I had to experience not just situational audio being on an airplane for an extended amount of time, but also environmental audio walking around the streets, trying different experiences, and interacting with people when I still have my headphones on and I'm walking on the street. So those are the things, or the experiences, that I was shooting for. And there's not, for the most part, these did not disappoint. These are the ones to get. The XM6s have not only a great experience when it comes to audio, but I want to show you guys, or at least demonstrate for you guys, an audio recording while I was walking the streets in Paris using these headphones, and how does the audio sound, and pay attention to the environmental audio behind me. The testing that I normally do with this is obviously done in a backyard, my backyard. We're now in Paris. I'm just doing a real quick an audio video test, mostly audio, specifically recording the audio on the S25 Edge using the microphones on the XM6. And that's primarily to show the improvements that we've had over time. I've been able to make multiple conference calls, video calls, chats, listening to music and everything, and using the microphones has been actually very nice. Considering the upgraded system that we have in here, this should be a good experience for anybody considering using these for work as well as for play. When I heard that clip, when I heard the playback of that clip, I was like, wow. The reality of the matter is the audio has been so improved over the years from the XM3s that this is now a massive jump for me. From anybody that's using the XM3s or even the XM4s, they improved the experience on the XM4s, but it didn't get to this level. The XM6s just literally obliterate anything regarding audio experience. It just sounds like you're using in-ear earbuds that are, again, the beamforming microphones do their job very nicely. Now, at the same time, I wasn't listening to anything else. It wasn't a very loud street where I demonstrated that, but even just walking around a main area where there's a lot of cars, it brings down the environmental audio to a very comfortable area. And if you're playing any kind of music at a low level, you're not going to have any problems. So from a comfort experience, extended wear experience, absolutely fantastic. Now, where this becomes and shines even more is when we start to multitask. Now, when we switch over to productivity and gaming, now having it connected to my MacBook Pro meant that I was able to edit videos on the plane without having any problems. The Bluetooth connectivity that we have in here has actually been so good that I did not have any audio sync when I'm watching myself and I'm editing the video. A lot of times when I edit my videos, I use audio as the cues as opposed to video. I've been able to use them wired and wireless, and that's one of the main benefits that I like about this. I can plug it directly into my MacBook Pro. I plug it into another device like the Yoga Book that I'm showing you guys right there. The editing experience became so much better for me. It became just basically like second nature. And again, I was using them while, in an area, in and out, in hotel lobbies and an airplane, on the streets. There was no issues. There was no problems at all. The battery life has been so good that I've almost forgotten to charge them. And as far as just a quick tip, the charging on this, the charging speed is actually pretty crazy. Yeah, even if you are able to get them to, let's say you kill the batteries on the headphones, you're able to use them while charging them. And that's, again, a big game changer. Unfortunately, no audio to pass through over USB-C. That's something I wish we had, but you're able to connect them via headphone jack and use the cable to be able to charge them, or even use them wirelessly. The charge speed is a little bit slower, so if the battery is all the way dead, maybe do a 3-minute quick charge before you start and then charge them up at the same time and you'll be back up and running. All the controls are directly within the app. The audio quality is absolutely fantastic. You're able to customize it to have either the super heavy bass experience or just more of a comfortable area. The audios, the mids and highs are represented very nicely. Now, I do want to mention that Sony does have an Alt series headphones similar to the XM series, and those are more considered to be more along the line of what their speaker systems are, like the heavy bass, basically dance, EDM, rock type of thing. If you just want to be able to get that experience, very much heavy, I feel like the Alt series will be there. Hopefully I get a chance to check them out. But if you don't, if you want to get that nice balanced experience, this is going to be really nice. You're still able to rock with them. I'm not saying these are not good. These are going to sound really good for you. They're going to give you a great range, great battery life, and great performance. My test for me is when I'm able to put these headphones on and I put my phone in the office here, and if I'm able to walk around my entire house and I don't lose a connection, that's a win for me. And that's what I'm getting here. And even though I didn't have them on the connectivity function where it provided me better stable connection over the audio performance, I think overall it did pretty decent for me. And I had it a couple of times where I was through a couple of walls here in the house, not a problem at all. So if you're looking for a pair of headphones that give you great audio, great active noise cancellation, great noise isolation because of the function or the form factor that they come in, this is what you're going to get with the XM6s. Great, when I mean audio, I want to be specific about not just audio reproduction with the drivers that we have in here, but also audio in a sense of what it's reproducing from the audio sense and recording you when you're using them to make calls. I was on, I want to say at least 20, like somewhere between 15 to 20 calls since I've had them on. And every single time I've used them, not one person had a problem understanding me. I've even done a comparison back and forth between the XM3s and the XM6. Obviously, very much a big win here, much better, much more clearer audio. And I think this is Sony's work showing itself. They're listening to their users and they're giving us that experience. So for the lack of a better word, if you're looking for the best audio experience on an over-the-ear headphones that works across platforms, the Sony XM6s are not going to disappoint. And I do want to say thank you very much to Sony for allowing me to check them out and give you guys my experience. And again, traveling with them just gives you that extra experience that you know that if it's able to handle those environments, it's going to work great at home. It's going to work great at the office or even in the car, so anybody can enjoy them. And don't worry, the XM3s are not going to be, their experience are not going to be lost. My wife is going to be taking over those, and she's going to definitely fall in love with Sony audio as much as I have. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. I will see you in the next video.